enjoy, but you're doing the thing you most enjoy, and you're doing it with three of your best friends. If you're going to shoot for the moon, why not shoot for the stars?
We create more as a whole than we do as individuals. And Australia really is about taking that principle and going big with it.
There's actually a huge amount of preserved naval history in Australia.
There are engines from the Crimean War.
Museum ships, museums.
They're not in the UK. They're nowhere for us to find in the UK. They're in Australia. Engines from the Crimean War.
Artefacts, all sorts of things.
And then we've got the ships which are preserved there. They are the last of their kind. And in some of the cases they have the last two of their kind. The only two in the world.
And a lot of this stuff, you know, if I didn't know about it and Dr. Clarke didn't know about it and the other two didn't know about it, well, then it's fairly likely that there's a fair amount of stuff out there that maybe you haven't heard of either. In some ways, we actually resemble a classic D&D raiding party. Now, exactly which of the two of us, between myself and Dr. Clarke, fill which role is up for a matter of debate.
Two of the finest naval historians that I know. Don't tell them I told you that, but they are. We all know they are.
I like to think that Dr. Clarke fulfills the tank role, since he literally has to take on most of the organisational duties and so forth, and I like to think I fulfill the DPS role, as I'm the one who's usually charging around with cameras and climbing into inadvisable places, regardless of vertigo.
He is a walking database of information. It's just amazing to see him work and to work with him on these things and discuss the things with him.
Gareth is the bard, since he actually knows how to talk to people in general and relate things to others in a way that perhaps we wouldn't understand.
You cannot imagine the wealth of knowledge and crazy bits of information that are in that historian's brain.
Did you know in Buffalo Naval Park, if you go there, inside, buried in one side one of those ships, is a wonderful little museum about the Vietnam War?
I mean, the stories he has picked up, the little bits of history, it just brings everything alive. It makes it all pop. It's just amazing to work with. It's so much fun.
Dan is, I guess, the cleric, because he has all the healing capabilities, since he is actually a trained physician.
He's also a team medic, so that he kind of has a place where even if he didn't have any naval history knowledge, but he does. And you get him into those areas on a ship where it's his area, and wow.
Anyway, I don't know what I'm doing with this lot. They bring me along. They mutter something about needing a healer. Yeah.
As we all know, if you want to successfully complete a quest, you need a full party. A cameraman each for when it was necessary.
Dan and I could support Alex and Drac in the creation of their kind of major content. We could be the people who held cameras, who spotted things they should be talking about with everything else, because we had the historical knowledge and frankly were prepared to spend 5 hours on the same damn ship.
It also meant that duties such as navigation and driving could be split between us, which meant everybody got a chance to rest. And trust me, having now done a trip to the States where I was the only one who could drive, with a group of people, and another trip earlier this year where I was the only one in the States and therefore having to do all the driving and everything else, it makes a huge difference.
You've got someone to share the driving with, and when there's a problem in a hotel, it's a case of, hey then, all four of us are in the same boat, so whichever one of us feels most awake, go deal with it.
And working with Drac and Alex is fantastic because I get to fill in some of those gaps that they have, and suddenly the very obscure knowledge in my head becomes useful when they place it into a context.
Why is this stuff not known? Why is this not being sung? Why is there not massive tourist attention being put on these ships? And so we thought, yeah.
We got feedback from the museum ships themselves, from just people writing to us saying, I didn't know that I had this history on my doorstep. And we hope that what we can do with this is elevate awareness of some of these ships in the ship community, that they are there to be visited, the same with these collections, the same with these small museums.
A lot of it's about making the history available to everyone, because history isn't for historians. History is for all of us, and historians are just the ones who help us to understand it and appreciate it.
We want to bring you videos, written content, behind the scenes stuff.
You know me. I will do videos, long recorded and lives from the trip. I will do shorts while I'm out there. I will do tweets. I will do all sorts of things, and I'll probably do some papers at some point.
There'll be exclusive streams. There will be videos that we'll be recording while we're there.
From these ships, from these museums, from these collections we're going to visit, and combine our knowledge to create something that's greater than it is as an individual.
There's just so much history that can come out of it, and sort of sharing the history. And that's what the trip is all about, sharing the history.
Obviously, we're not going to be, flying the jet set life. We're not asking for everyone to pay for the cost of first class tickets or, stays in 5-star hotels and that other kinds of nonsense. Getting to and from the States and getting to and from Australia are two very, very different questions. It's not just a matter of distance, it's also just a matter of the international economy, the cost of accommodation, the cost of car hire where needed.
With the hotels, we are kind of cheating in that we found a certain chain worked out pretty darn well for us in Canada.
Trips to Australia per mile flown are just that much more expensive. You will have a number of benefits.
I'm desperately hoping that enough people of you take the tiers that allow us to refight the Battle of Trafalgar, because I'm a gamer, I'm a streamer. You might know me from my Hearts of Iron 4 streams, my Victoria streams, my Crusader Kings streams, on Twitch and on YouTube. The idea of doing some actual tabletop gaming and refighting Trafalgar for a man who has a cat called Napoleon is quite an exciting prospect. And to do it potentially with commentary from Kate Jameson, the only person I think who actually stands Collingwood more than I do, will be a great joy.
There'll be challenge coins at some of the levels. There'll be books off of the shelves. I mean, you can see part of the library here, so there's a few books around here that could be making their way to you at certain specific tiers. There are biographies and autobiographies behind me of admirals that I don't think even Drac has, and that's saying a lot. So some of those might end up in your mailbox. Japan, Italy and beyond are all on the radar, but to do that we need to do this one first. I hope to see some of you in Australia, and for the rest of you, I hope you get to see what we find in Australia. Cheers! Give us a little bit of your money, and let's get to Australia and let's get you some amazing content from some amazing ships. Good evening, everyone. Hopefully you should be able to hear me. As usual, say yes if you can hear me, say no if you can't, and then we'll get Alex to do exactly the same joke as I've just done, so that you can see if you can hear him as well. That's some yeses. That's good. Alex, do you wanna say hi? Let's see if we've got you.
Hello, everyone. Right. Can you hear me? Yes or no? Yes if you can hear me. No if you can't. And go away if you prefer not to.
Good stuff. You have no idea, chat, how fucking complex sorting out the audio on this one has been. But hopefully what you might find we need to do is let us know if the game audio levels aren't great, because we're actually not being able to run this through my normal mixer. So essentially there's a lot of kind of sneakily editing volume levels in just standard Windows audio quietly behind the scenes. It's not exactly pro streamer level, but it's working.
It's a lot of fun, and it's getting used to it working.
That's the thing.
The
It
first
works.
time. It's when you say it's the first time for you doing something on Twitch that I go, okay, this is gonna be fun.
Well, I've never actually used Twitch Guest before, which is their new thing that brings everything in, and it seems to be working really well. We do apologise to anyone like Glyn that we're blatantly going to cause migraines for, based on... Oh god, I can't move the mouse off the screen. That's going to really annoy me. Damn it, aircraft carrier survival. Why do you do this to me? Right, hello to everyone in chat that I now can't see because I can't scroll up without alt-tabbing out of the game. And to everyone I can see on stream. So welcome to all the first-time streamers. I know loads of you coming over from Alex's Discord. So welcome. Let's do some gaming. So plan this evening is aircraft carrier survival, which means we are essentially playing as an aircraft carrier.
I would like to point out, you have played this game a few times before. I have literally queued this to buy on payday, which is tomorrow for me.
So with that spirit in mind, I think that's why we've decided you're the admiral here, and I'm the captain, because as an admiral, you would know precisely fuck all about how to run a carrier.
Yes, basically it's not my job. I'm not Admiral Henderson. It's not
particularly as an American admiral.
As an American admiral, yes.
Yeah. So
it's not like you're expecting to sort of deal with Philip Vian, who turns up in the middle of engineering doing an engineering officer of the watch duty when he's a vice admiral just because he feels like it, and he thought the junior officer who was on duty looked tired.
Yeah.
So he sent him to bed.
I think what we've got here is we're going to do campaign, because why not? Because we may well pick this up again later. It's good fun. Essentially, we command a carrier group. We can dispatch missions, get them back. The goal is complete our missions in the Pacific Theatre as a US carrier, and we can upgrade the carrier and staff and things as we go through, and don't get caught with all our planes on our deck and murdered by the Japanese, basically. Alex is a bit quiet versus Garius. Let me see if I can boost that then. This is the time for...
No one has ever said that in real life. No one has ever said that between us in person, that I am quiet in comparison to...
Yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce myself and ask you all to turn up your volume slightly, because it's easier for me to drop my levels than it is to increase Alex's. No, seriously.
I would like to say something about the t-shirts I'm wearing, because this is quite a special one. We picked this up in Canada, or rather in America, and we visited the Sullivans the Sullivans, and there was a lot of fun over this t-shirt because there was only one left, and you and I weren't bothered about which one of us got it, but the others were going, oh no, we're not sure, we can have that t-shirt, we're not sure what we can, and you and I were just going, yeah, we don't mind, we can wear that one, we can get away with it. And basically spent the entire rest of the trip winding them up with it.
Yeah, I think because I think I wear mine on the trailer video. Right, I've dropped the game volume as well by request, so we'll see how this goes when we kick it in. I've definitely got the Pride Run of Deep one. I can't remember if you've got the Pride Run of Deep one, Alex.
That's what I'm wearing.
Nice. There we go. Best one. Can you play as a Japanese carrier with realistic damage control? Sadly not. It would be a short game for a start. Right, let's give this a go.
Can you play as a Royal Navy carrier with realistic damage control? Well, as long as you're not Ark Royal, you're fine.
Right, so let's get our campaign going on. Sound seems to find that excellent. Right, we are going to skip the tutorial because I played this game about 2 years ago, so I can definitely remember everything I do.
Oh God, many and many true words spoken in jest.
Good evening, Jonathan Moon. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, we've got an Alex. In fact, Alex, here is your admiral. You get to decide what they wear.
Oh, good Lord. Let's see. Standing, and definitely not defense position.
Right, so orders are quite handy. So what orders do is during the game we'll be able to kind of give orders that do things like give us extra defense or enhance radar or give us some reinforcements. So kind of you can see the descriptions here. So we've got like assemble a temporary damage control team from off-duty crew members. So that's our damage control boost. We've got
Yeah.
prioritized comms, so give us a better chance of finding things, or we can be far more defensive if we do get found. So what type of admiral, what type of carrier group commander are you going to be?
I think enhanced radar is probably more sensible at the moment.
Cool.
Especially the beginning of the war. Maybe later in the war, I'd want to adopt the big blue blanket with the enhanced defensive, but I think at this point I'd go for radar. Voice 1. What? There are voices?
There are voices. Let's see what voices we got. Voice 1 and voice 2.
Hard work is what keeps the ship moving.
Hard work is what keeps the ship moving.
Hard work is what keeps the ship moving.
Hard
Did
work
you say
is
anything?
what keeps the ship moving.
Yeah, it'll be quite quiet for you because this is the downside of the mic things. I think voice 2 is probably more you, but it is, as chat points out, it's Yankee
Hard
or
work
Yankee
is what keeps
basically.
the ship moving.
Okay, voice 2.
Because you are a US admiral. Face.
That's fine.
You've got face
Ooh.
1. Face
Okay.
2. Face 2 looks like he needs some sleep.
Oh, good God. What
Face
happened
3.
to him?
Face 3 looks slightly more unfazed.
That looks like an animatronic.
And face 4 looks like he really needs a shit.
Oh, good Lord. Go find the loo. Let's go with face 1, because it's the only one which doesn't look constipated in some form or another.
Are we going with realistic Alex hair? Which hair do you want to be? Do you want to be swept brown, swept grey? That's quite distinguished.
Let's see. Let's go with, realistic Alex hair. We'll go with the blonde.
We're going to go blonde. We can go side swept.
Yeah.
We can go slicked back.
Side swept, please. I'm not going for slip back. That looks slightly worrying.
Now the most important question of all: do you require an eye patch?
I think it would be good to have one, and Aviator's Gold.
I think you may only get to choose between them.
Oh, I'll have the eye patch then.
You can have a pipe, should you desire.
I think I need to have binoculars so I can throw them at people, or throw them away.
Good stuff. And you have a vast variety of service coats and clothing to choose from. But really it boils down to, do you want your whites, your blues, overcoats, or, I mean, that's probably not period.
That's definitely not period. That's very futuristic.
You can dazzle camo if you want. Be handy if a submarine attacks you.
There is certainly something going on there. That's far too much of that's rather, a trendy look. I say we'll go whites. Just because
you can go super cash. This is Admiral ashore. This is Admiral on having a party in Hawaii. Look.
This is Admiral wearing silks and a silk kimono underneath his
That's Canadian Navy uniform.
Yeah. Oh, we'll go Canadian Navy uniform. That's appropriate for us.
You got Canadian Navy. So yeah, we can go Canadian. Do we want to go Canadian Navy, or do we want to go proper
Canadian
and go
Navy.
white? So we're going Canadian Navy.
Yeah, we're going Canadian. We're gonna be one of the admirals who Halsey's probably mentally sending people to try and kill us.
So
a regular basis.
role playing this out. We're essentially a Canadian aircraft carrier on deployment with the US. That's how we're playing this, is it?
Yeah. And so we will act like a Canadian aircraft carrier, which means at certain points we will remind other people to get out our way.
Yeah, HMCS Habakkuk, as someone's pointed out.
Yeah.
In which case, you also get to choose your trousers. We can go with standard whites, greys, and navies.
Surely to go to top, it should be denim.
We can also go full denim if we're full Canadian Admiral.
Yeah, let's go denim.
we are 100% Canadian Admiral here. This is entirely realistic. We will select a
And
little
no one's
board
quite
cake.
sure whether we lost the eye in a tree chopping accident or in an actual, military operation.
And no one wants to ask. No one's actually
No.
checked that we are genuinely an admiral. We just walked on the ship like this and took over. I'm annoyed you can't have beards. It genuinely annoys me in this game that there are no beards.
That's terribly unnautical.
Yeah.
It's very American, but it's terribly unnautical. In the Royal Navy, basically, beards were almost de rigueur.
So this is our little budding carrier group here.
Okay.
And here is our first carrier. So we
All
have,
right.
currently,
We have the Lexington.
we have a Lexington class. We have the USS Saratoga. We can unlock
Okay.
them by spending points and things as we go through this. But for now, I think we are stuck with the starter class. Our only way
That's
eventually
fine.
will be Essex, but for now we are a Lexington. You can name it.
Ooh.
I feel like we should give chat some choices on names here. Chat, give us some Canadian names for our Canadian aircraft carrier, and we will do a quick poll, so that you can pick what name you want while I just quickly talk yourselves and Alex through some of the basics on
Habakkuk,
this.
Bonaventure, Timmy Who. Oh, what we... there are some good ones you could put out there.
So we have points to spend at this point. So what we could do,
We
for
have
example,
8.
is we have
points
8
of it.
points to spend, and we can spread them around different things. So obviously this is our dock view. This is what we've got already. We have an escort section for our ships,
Yeah.
and right now we have a Type 2, like carrier escort. This allows us to kind of deploy cap when we're out. It essentially supports us on operations.
Okay.
So we could buy an escort carrier.
Yeah.
In fact, we have a squadron of submarines.
Yes.
We also have one that can deploy a decoy, apparently, which is quite good. Cool. At the moment, we can have up to 3 ships in our escorts, and if we unlock another thing, we can have something else, which is potentially useful. Things we can unlock are Fletchers. I personally think we absolutely want some Fletchers.
Yeah, I think we do.
We've also got supply ships and supply escort ships we can get. I suspect we're not going to need them for early missions. We do have a repair ship we can unlock. And then I think we can unlock better... Yeah, later on we can unlock better Fletchers and Clevelands and things.
I think the things you want are Fletchers, and I think you want to try and boost the radar by 1 and the aircraft capacity by 1. If you can do all that on 8 points.
Let's give it a go. So we're going to add some Fletchers, which I think means we're going to need to... We can take 3 things with us.
Yeah.
I suspect that's fine, because I think we can probably take the Fletchers, maybe a Saipan, and the subs.
Yeah.
Stack the aircraft
That'll
up in the
probably-
hangar. What can go wrong? Well, weren't the Lexingtons were built for what? 59, 60, and then they worked out they could hang them from the ceiling, and they got it up to 90. Is that right?
Yeah. They had an aircraft capacity of 90, but that includes things hanging from the ceiling and things in parts and all sorts of fun things.
So we could spend some points to unlock more fighters. I kind of think we might want to hold off on that and see how we do.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
we don't
think
want to
so.
spend all our points at the moment. Maybe we want some...
I would
More
say
crew.
if you go back to the carrier section,
Yep.
I don't think we need more officers and crew at the precise moment, but if we go back to the actual carrier itself,
You want radar?
we want radar. I'm fairly certain from what I've been reading about this game, radar is helpful. And can we increase the carrier capacity by 1?
Suspect so. As in hangar
So we get-
capacity.
Yes, so just press the hand capacity once, basically.
Yep. So
And that
essentially...
give us some more aircraft.
Yeah, so we've theoretically got 24 aircraft. How many slots do we now have on our carrier?
We have 3 more, 27 aircraft slots.
So, what do we want to get? Because we can afford them. Do we want to just do 1 on each, or...?
I think for the first mission, probably we do. Just so we learn their capabilities, because which ones do we have? We have Devastators, Vindicators, Buffaloes. None are particularly great. I don't really want to invest in any too much if they're at all realistic.
I mean, we can upgrade, I think, if we wanted to spend our final 2 points, but it depends on whether we want to spend them yet.
What can we just spend them on in terms of the aircraft? What are the upgrade options?
It'd be 2 points. I think, essentially, it's not going to tell us. I don't know if it actually gives us different aircraft, or whether it's just improved versions thereof.
Well, let's see what the improved version of the fighters are, because that'll make a difference to both the defense and attack.
I am delighted, chat, that you were already arguing over whether Fletchers are destroyers or cruisers.
Fletchers are destroyers. Fletchers are destroyers.
Fletchers are destroyers. Did we want to upgrade, spend our last 2 points on something? Or are we banking it?
Let's look at click on it and look at what the fighters get to you if you do it over Clarke.
Well, annoyingly, it doesn't tell me. I think it just goes, you will be improving this. Upgraded planes will be more powerful in combat while having more squadrons allows for more effective combat strategies. I'm going to quickly dive to crew, because I do think we might want to get some... Oh no, I mean, we've got people in. There's no one there that's worth getting. I think we're probably alright. Well, hang on. What have we got here? So we've got... These are our 2 officers. We've got Adams. Yep. We've got J. Warren Adams. He's a very promising officer. Oh, he's got the China Service Medal. He gives a defensible fighter maneuvers plus 100 combat card, which is quite nice. And defense plus 4 if the previous maneuver used fighters. Those 2 are going to complement each other quite well.
That's good.
I mean, we could go 3 officer slots and get another officer.
Can you scroll down the options?
So these are our current 3 officer options.
Yeah.
So we've got Robert A. Haldeman here, who's going to give us attack and defense of all other fighter maneuvers boost. We've got Charlie Boy, who is, if placed between that, his card is probably not going to be that useful to us early on, I don't think. And then Thomas Whiteside here. That, if we were going to get one, I'd say get him, because that attack of all other torpedo bomber maneuvers is probably quite useful. Although we don't have any other torpedo bomber maneuvers yet, so maybe less so.
Yeah. And what are the crew options?
So crew, essentially you deploy to different sections on your ship and they give different boosts. Like, so if you want to go to full speed, you've got to have a fully staffed engine room, for example. If you put more crew in your hangars, they can get the aircraft on the deck and off the deck quicker. So there is a certain advantage in having lots of crew. I remember that much, because it does mean you can just operate the ship at a much higher level. Jonathan Moon in chat, as a carrier fighters equivalent of a battleship's armour, I'd go +3 there to start. I do think that might be where we end up going after this first mission, is we might end up boosting our fighters a bit.
Oh yes, I think we will probably end up boosting fighters and trying to figure out a way to replace the Buffaloes as quickly as we physically can. Of the 3, I was sitting there going, Buffalo was fairly good in the hands of the Australians flying from land. As a carrier fighter, it didn't have the quick enough climb rate. And so that was its main problem. It's kind of... How do I put this? Imagine the Fulmar, but a single-seat aircraft. And sort of it has to... instead of the Americans having to worry about trying to develop tactics which will benefit and make it work, the Americans can go... Grumman, you know that aircraft we turned down and you've been playing with? Yeah? Crash build! Now! Crash build! Crash build!
Build it. Build something else.
Anything!
I think if we were going to do anything on here, we want to boost crew. If I'm starting to flash back. Shall we spend our last 2 points boosting crew? I don't think we're going to
Go
regret it. Which means we got a whole new crew slot, which presumably means we can just buy. It doesn't matter, all level 0. He looks like he's holding wood, and therefore is definitely Canadian.
Yes.
So get in there, son. Do your Canadian country proud.
Mm-hmm.
Right, we do need our name for our carrier chat here.
Okay, so can I put in? I'm trying to work out whether I can put in a
Yeah, I managed to alt tab out. I can poll if we want to.
Do you want to? Let's poll.
Right. So I've seen one is is the HMCS Gretzky.
Okay.
You've got chat as well, can't you? You can see it. Do you want to scroll up and give me some other give me some ideas that chat are giving us that you fancy?
There is HMCS Napoleon, HMS Royal Maple, HMCS Pig War, HMCS Titanic 2, The Revenge, HMCS Redwood, HMCS Habakkuk, and HMCS Shorts, and HMCS Double Denim.
HMCS Double Denim.
Mm-hmm.
How do you spell Habakkuk? Because I genuinely can't remember. Is it double B?
Yeah, it is. It's HABBABUK. And I seriously do not know where they came up with the name from. I'm hoping.
Is it Habakkuk or Habakkuk?
Habakkuk.
Right, chat. You have a 2-minute poll starting now with 4 options. Let's go. Poll is live. And while that poll is live, I'm going to take the opportunity to do this thing here and just remind you that exclamation mark ship shape is going to give you details on our little expedition we're trying to do to Australia, and we genuinely need your help in funding it. It's a fundraiser, you get cool things from it, but if you do that, it's going to be we will bring you so much content. You know you'll love it. You know you'll love it. What is the ship you're most looking forward to, Alex?
You have to ask. It's HMAS Vampire. Let's be honest. It's the Daring class, the last remaining Daring class destroyer. I have noticed that the entire trip has been structured with that at the end of the trip, not at the beginning of the trip, because you all don't want to have the joy of trying to get me away like you could try to get me. You got me away from Hyder. The experience of trying to get me away from Hyder to go to Sackville, as much as I enjoyed seeing Sackville and Halifax, seems to leave you all the memory, and you've gone, right then, HMS Vampire is going to be at the end. We are starting from Perth. We're starting from as far away continentally from her as we can get, and working our way across the country to her.
She is going to be lovely. I mean, I loved Hyder in Canada so much, and then to be able to go to a Daring as well would be fantastic.
Yeah, it's basically you get to see the pre-World War II attempt to make this, and then, hello, this is what we made post-World War II. And you get to go, oh, you're really big.
How's our poll doing? We're almost done. Oh, it's going to be Habakkuk, which thankfully someone has put the correct spelling for me in chat.
That's good.
Cheers, Kingsrook. Yeah, we are going to be HMS Habakkuk.
Dang, I voted for Double Denim.
I was very much in favour of HMCS Gretzky. But the people have spoken.
That is good.
So we are HMCS Habakkuk. Right. Let's launch. I suspect we're about to get a trailer. Or a little intro video. Let's give it a go.
I think it's double K rather than double B, but I think we spelled it wrong now.
I could have sworn I copied.
It's
No?
also spelled Habakkuk or Habak. Yeah, it can be spelled either way.
Let's go single. Let's because it'll be smaller on the carrier. It just pops up on our little front bit here.
Jonathan Moon, all the ships I've seen are Cavalier, Gannet, and Ocelot. Well, that's a very nice day out. Let's be honest. Chatham Dockyard is cool.
Chatham Dockyard, I spend a lot of time there. The nice thing about being head of digital at University of Greenwich is I can book a meeting at our Medway campus and then spend the rest of the day hanging around on the in the Engineers Museum and in at the docks. Right, let's launch this. I reckon we're going to get a trailer, or we're at least going to get a mission bio. So let's see what happens. Wake Island Rescue. Wake Island is under attack following the strike on Pearl Harbor. The Imperial Japanese Navy continues its offensive on US and British overseas territories. No new circumstances have happened. Our mission is, Admiral, to locate and destroy the enemy carrier to stop its attack on Wake Island. Launch and recover a mission to rescue the civilian VIP trapped in the island's garrison.
I'm so glad we picked up those Fletchers.
So we need to destroy at least 3 enemies. We can't lose more than 2 squadrons of fighters, and we've got to do the whole thing in 20 hours or less. Right.
Okay. Please let us have Fletchers.
That's a good point. Did we actually select our Fletchers?
Wake Island has just been attacked by the Japanese Navy, Admiral. There is a White House official on the island visiting our base there.
Oh, there is a White House official.
Oh God, do we have to? Come on, he's just gonna take. If we leave him for the Japanese, he'll just eat their food for the rest of the war.
We will have a short space of time within which to carry out the rescue.
There is an advantage to leaving him there.
Where our men will take the VIP
I'm just saying,
for a safe return to our carrier.
Drains their food rather than our food.
Plus, you know, it's a SPAD. So this... There she is in all her glory, the HMCS Habakkuk.
Okay.
So this is our aircraft carrier. To run you through the basics, we bought our Fletchers and then didn't bring them because we're idiots. But at least they'll be ready for next mission.
Yeah.
This is our deck management. So this is where we set between our 2 deck states of launching and recovery. With planes being moved around accordingly where needs to be. This is our speeds. As you can see, at the moment we couldn't go up to full speed because we haven't fully staffed our engineering department. This is where we allocate crew. So essentially, we currently have no unassigned crew. But I would argue we don't need to be staffing the medical department at the moment.
Nope.
So we could arguably, you can see the boosts we get to things that happen here. So engineering department, damage control, navigation, all of that. And we just move crew around as we want them to go into different places.
Well, yeah, I'd say engineering and air department might be useful at the moment, because they're the 2 we need to be running.
I suspect you're right. Does that mean we can go full? Doesn't, but that's fine.
But we can probably go at half more efficiently.
Yeah, I think that actually, you're right. I think that actually increases or decreases our use of fuel, which is quite nice. We have all of our planes in hangar at the moment, none on deck. That's our mission objectives button. This is our tactical map. So as you can see, we have an unknown object last reported over there. That is Wake Island that we need to get to do recovery. This should give us... It's not going to show us, is it? When we queue up missions, we can do things. So these are the available missions that we can do at any given time. So we can identify targets, we can do recon, and we can do airstrike. The different balance that we can have in this panel is determined by where we put officers in our tower. So, for example, if we move an officer from... While he's in the control room there, he's boosting in efficiency in the damage control. if we tell him to move up to here, we could then change this. So we say, actually, we want, rather than having 2 recon missions down here, we want 2 identify missions, or we want 2 airstrike missions.
Okay.
So each of the rooms do different things, basically. So you can do prioritizing repairs, for example, or, you know, different things to boost different things. So we do have 3 officers, which is quite nice, because it means we can move them around quite easily. Oh no, 2 officers and ourselves. There we are, look, you can see our shorts. There we are in our little room in our shorts.
Oh, that's good. We're in the navigation room.
Yeah, we're currently chilling in there.
Oh, that's good.
In terms of other things, you can see this is our ship. You see it all in its glory. Which I actually quite like. It's quite a nice view. You can see where we've got people deployed at the moment. And as we get damage or similar, I think we react by moving them around to deal with it. Or repairs. Oh, that's representing the hung aircraft. That's good.
Yeah, that is useful.
Ooh, a bit dazzled.
Nice and accurate.
Yeah, I remember being quite impressed by this game in terms of it simplifies stuff because it has to, but it doesn't oversimplify. The downside is apparently we've been detected by the enemy.
That's annoying. So can we have the fighters on deck and up in the air, please? One thing I will say, and it's kind of an interesting thing, and this is just a note for everyone else. What we've got doing is we've got this currently running on Discord and on Twitch at the same time. So I can basically, so I will see it hopefully as quickly as possible. And it's happening more quickly for me on Discord, but the graphics are terrible. And sometimes I have to look at the Twitch screen to figure out the graphics.
Because
the Discord screen keeps going very, very ultra low quality on me.
I'll tell you what, let me close some background stuff down because that might help you there.
How many tabs do you have open?
I have a fair few. Let me close down the millions of other things I have open. And that might improve it a bit for you. Let's close that one.
Plot twist: the White House official is Andrew May.
Right.
Jonathan Moon. Gannett is 200 years old. Cavalier born World War II, and even the youngest Ocelot is over 3 times my age. It is nice when you can wander around Ocelot. Ocelot is the other ones are very good boats, and I'm actually hoping to steer some attention her way at some point this year. I do have a plan for Ocelot.
I do really like Ocelot. It's a lovely little ship. Right. See what I'm going to do is you're going to lose your stream for a second. Don't panic.
That's fine. I never panic, as a rule. Well, it depends. If you took my food away from me, then you'd see something like approaching mild panic. But when the stream dies, it's just IT technician life factors in, and you go, "Oh yeah,
right." You
should. Oh, that's it. That's going nicely, yeah.
But it's 7:20 now, so it should be a bit better for you.
Yep.
Still sad we couldn't get to an O-boat during a Canada trip. I would have loved to have gone to an O-boat. O-boats are lovely.
Yes, it was fun, but we might well be getting to an O-boat anyway, thanks to the Aussies.
That's very true.
That is factored into the plans. An O-boat is on the list.
Oh, they've added a pause button. They didn't used to have a pause button in this. This is brilliant. Okay, right. So we do get a free cap because we've got our Saipan. So we could throw that up now, or we can get some fighters up now.
I'd throw up our cap from the Saipan, and then we can send our throw up our recon. And if we throw up our recon, we can hopefully find the lovely people.
Right, so to do a recon, we need to use 2 dive bombers. So I suspect the enemy are exactly where that icon is because, let's be honest, it's the first level.
Yep.
So let's get back on deck. So let's get 2 dive bombers up.
Issue a dive bomber squadron on the deck.
We should probably go somewhere, thinking about it. Given we've been detected.
So let's move our carrier towards Wake Island, because then we get closer to where we need to be. And I know it's a bit predictable, but this is the first level, so it's also going to help us get closer to launch a strike.
This is true. Speed choice, Admiral?
As fast as we can go.
I think that's half at the moment. I think if we move people to navigation, we could go full, if you want to go full.
Leave it at half a moment, because that's probably economic on the fuel as well, and I don't want to use up the full fuel amount.
Yes, that's true. We are. We don't want to burn too much fuel, do we?
We're launching 6 of our dive bombers.
Yeah, so they launch in groups of 3, basically. Enemy scouts.
I'm so glad we now have 9 of each.
I think we might want to get some cap up. Additional cap. If they're scouting us, that's probably not a good sign. Right, recon mission, we're going up here, aren't we? They were last seen heading in that way, so if where do you want to go, about there? Catches most of it.
I'd go a bit further up.
Issue a fighter squadron
About there.
on the deck.
And then recovery will go there. We should be moving into that.
I'd go further along our route.
Let's go
Because
there.
that's about... then that covers our end position, and I'll turn in the corner.
I confirm that. I don't think I confirmed that.
And
so we were going up there, and we're recovering around about there.
yeah.
And let's get our other fighters. We'll get our cap up first.
Yeah. Makes sense. But again, I'm glad we can put an extra one in each of the squadrons.
Yeah, I think the maximum we can have on deck at once is 5.
Which isn't realistic, because the US Navy used to pummel everything up there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you see some of the photos, it's just incredible.
Because they do a rapid launch alpha strike, because that's what the US Navy found with Lexington and Saratoga they could do, and this gave them the idea of doing a massive boom. Whereas the British went in a sort of scenario going, yeah, we like the alpha strike methodology, that's a really cool thing, we'd like to be able to do that, but we also think we're going to be not only operating in the Far East, we're operating in the Mediterranean, and in terms of the Far East, we're operating in the South China Sea. We're going to have land-based aircraft coming after us at all times. Okay, we're going to need a constant cap, and that's what they build their carriers around. So it's the difference of the thing is the Americans can maintain a constant cap and do a constant operation, but in many ways it gets rid in way of them doing their alpha strike, which is what they're built around doing. And the British can do an alpha strike, but it gets in the way of them doing the constant operation, which they're built around doing.
Because Lexington and Saratoga were both the laid-down battle cruisers that got converted, weren't they?
They were.
That's CV2 and CV3?
Broadly speaking, I think it was Lexington was going to be CC1. She was originally called the Constitution, and then they changed it to Lexington because they decided they didn't want to have a Constitution class. But if you look at the vessels which were chosen for the Lexington class, the names, they include the United States, the Constitution, and a Constellation. Of course, Constitution, USS Constitution is the old Ironsides. And they actually changed the name of Constitution to the old Constitution for a good few years while they were still trying to build the ship. Which shows you how serious.
One in brackets.
Yeah, they basically had her renamed as Old Constitution.
Constitution _final
Yeah.
Ironic Brew. Any reading recommendations? So your recommendations for carrier history.
Oh, carrier history. There are lots of good ones, but I have one behind me which I've kept going back to recently at the moment, which is this one, which is Clarke G. Reynolds' book, The Fast Carriers, is just an interesting insight into the whole debates going on about carriers in the US Navy. The other one, which is another good one, which if you're interested in, is Carrier, literally just called Carrier, edited by Gene Hood, which is a very appropriate name for anyone who's doing naval history. Being called Hood is a really appropriate name to get. And it's a century of first-hand accounts of naval operations in war and peace aboard carriers. And it literally is that. It goes all the way up to the Second Gulf War in terms of carrier operations. So it starts off with the operations in World War I and even some of the stuff prior to World War I and goes all the way up to the Second Gulf War. They're really good books.
I don't think I've ever read Fast Carriers. I will have to have a look. Question from Kingsrook. If Canada had gotten the battleships prior to World War I, do you think Canada would have gotten carriers in the lead up to World War II?
It would be hard to see how they wouldn't have a carrier already, because the Royal Navy was already operating by the 1920s, the early 1920s, on the policy that a battleship squadron without a carrier was a pointless endeavor.
Right,
because
our recon is
was
entering
basically
range.
That's good.
We do have another unknown object reported over here.
Oh, cool.
But it's quite a way away.
Yeah, we'll keep going.
We did manage to shoot down the enemy scouts.
That's good.
So we can recover. We need to flip our deck to recovery.
Yeah.
And we recover our cap. So these little timers down here give you the duration of mission and when they start on their way back, how long they can stay in the air for. So if we don't recover them within 27 minutes, they start, well,
falling out the sky?
Recovering themselves aggressively.
I thought they'd start falling out the sky and hitting the water.
Yes.
But no, fast carrier is a good one. But it's one of those scenarios when you're dealing with the development of carrier warfare. One of the things people forget is, and this in my channel, of course, on the YouTube channel comes up a lot, the Blackburn, which is the ugliest aircraft ever. Please, if you haven't seen it, you don't have to hurt your eyes. Don't need to look it up. But the whole point about it is it's built around the idea of spotting and reconnaissance. And that was the thing that carriers were really needed for in the end of World War I and the 1920s. They weren't necessarily the strike aircraft. Yes, some aircraft could carry torpedoes, great. They might even hit something. And some could carry bombs, and they might do damage to something light, maybe a destroyer. But at that time, what they could do is they could fight the naval information war. And that's one of the really interesting things you get with the Lexingtons being turned into carriers, because the Lexington-class battle cruisers had it all been built about fighting the information war for the US Navy. They were going to be the pride of the scouting force. They were going to be the key part of it. And now they became the aircraft carriers, which was the key part of it. Again, with fighters to try and deny the enemy information and scout aircraft to try and find the information for you, and also strike capacity. So it's everything, all the fun bundled into one.
They also, they're allegedly treaty ships that aren't treaty ships, aren't they? Because essentially isn't the treaty limit 30,000 on a conversion?
30. Well, the treaty limit is that they are supposed to be a lot less than they are.
Yeah,
basically, the limit is 27,000
yeah.
tons. You're allowed up to 32, and they are 37,000 tons exactly, and no one believes them.
Yeah, exactly. It's
quite rightly.
They think about trying to get them under the limit, and then go, actually, we're just going to lie like everyone else.
Who had the first aircraft carriers in actual debate? Because the Royal Navy has the first ships, which are the conversions into it, but the Japanese order the Hosho first, which is the first custom-built aircraft carrier, but the Royal Navy commissioned the first custom-built aircraft carrier first, because the Royal Navy does its normal thing, which is, hello, we have a lot of maritime infrastructure, build! And it works. So there's a whole debate, and then the US comes up sort of afterwards going, these things are useful. We like them.
Right, Admiral, I've taken the liberty of pushing us into into launch mode again because we did discover...
We need to send a strike.
Well, we've got to identify the targets first. So we did locate at least one Japanese force. But what we're going to need to do is do an identify target mission, which means we need a dive bomber for it. So we do need another dive bomber on deck. So I'm going to pull one up.
Yeah, we know that.
So our 2 dive bombers that are out are 4 hours away from recovery, basically.
Oh, that's good. I'm so glad we have an extra flight of dive bombers.
Yeah, I think that might prove to be very useful.
I actually think possibly the best argument might have been actually to spend all 3 on more dive bombers. In fact, if we get it next time, I think we might have to spend all 3 on dive bombers.
Yeah, dive bombers seem to be quite useful. So
especially in the early parts of the games.
So for identify you need torpedoes, but you only need 1 for it. Whereas for recon you need 2 dive bombers.
Yeah.
But airstrikes you can do a mix of everything, and that's where the cards come in.
And you will want to do a mix of things because you want to set sending into a torpedo bombs without fighter coverage is a good way to get them killed.
Yeah. So we're going to identify those 3, and we'll go recover that.
Yeah.
Confirm. Close and launch because we have the stuff on deck. So yeah, so we've got a recon coming back. Got an identified target coming back. I'm not sure what our... So locate and sink the enemy aircraft carrier. We're going to do that. That's fine. No problem.
How do we send someone to pick up the VIP?
That's what I was wondering.
Politician? Is this where we're going to be really going, hang on, we don't have a Fletcher, we have nothing to send
I think we send... I think we essentially either maybe we have to get into a certain range, or we have to send an aircraft out.
Do we have to send a flying boat?
If only.
Because I don't think we have any on us.
That would be nice.
Mm.
Do we want to put some cap up? We probably should, shouldn't we?
Probably should keep about a squadron up there because we ideally want to have about at least the flight ready to go with the torpedo bombers when they go.
Yeah.
So we only want to really have 1 flight in the air at any one time, especially if we've got a 3rd flight ready to go, but it's a case of if we keep having both flights up, then if anything happens, we have nothing. Whereas if we have a flight in reserve sitting on deck, we can either launch with the strike and get the other flight up, or we can launch it to reinforce the cap if we need to bring down the cap.
Yeah, so we've got our identify mission is going to be back in 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Our recon's back in 3.5.
Yeah.
The moment that is within comms range, they're going to tell us what we've actually found, and we will be able to sort out a strike. So the trick is going to be getting the strike off deck before we have to recover everything else.
It's going to be fun.
Shall I bring up some fighters, just in case?
Yes. I would park our fighters on the deck.
Because we're going to need them for the strike anyway, so let's get 2 up.
Yeah.
Because we can always send them up as replacement cap and get the other cap in.
I think we only have 1 set of fighters, don't we, left after, because we have 2 in the air.
Yeah, we've got 2 in the air, so this is going to put 2 on deck, and I think we've got...
We only have one extra set, don't we? We only have 1.
No, because the 3s count as 1. So it's a squadron, essentially. So we've got 7 total, so we'll have 2 on deck, 2 in the air, 3 still in the hangar.
Okay, that's good.
Did the Hosho not originally have 3 decks, or am I thinking of another ship? Maybe the Kagi?
You're thinking of the Amagi and the Akagi. Or rather, no, you're thinking of the Akagi and the Kaga.
Hello,
because
we've got an escort carrier, a destroyer, and light cruisers.
Sounds like their escort force.
It does. We've also got 2 more unknowns. I reckon we might be able to get them with a single scouting mission.
Mm-hmm.
What do we need for a scouting mission?
I think we can get them on a single scouting mission, but I think we can also send a strike to take out those, because if we strike to take out those, that gives us a advantage. A scout requires 2 groups of 2 dive bombers.
Right, so at the moment we can do a scout and a cap. 1 more scout and a cap, so we need to move some people around in our tower to get so that we can, or in our island, so we can do Oh, actually, we've already got an officer in the meteorology room, so we can just flip them to
Awaiting orders.
add one airstrike mission without them having to run around.
Yeah.
So, let's prepare an airstrike then. So if we're striking the escort group, this is where the cards come in. So it gives you kind of, these are the strengths we're going for. And by deploying cards in different ways, we can boost our attack and defense, and that then dictates the balance of units that we need to get in.
Let's do a torpedo run.
So
Make sure we take out the carrier.
if we go with, for example, attack and defense of maneuver 5 plus 125, that means if we put that one in slot 1, and that's its attack and its defense, whatever we put in slot 5 is going to be at 125% power of what it says on the card.
Yeah.
Now actually, I wonder if we do that and do that, because that's defense of all previous maneuvers and plus 25, but attack 25% of all followings. So maybe we want that there, and then there.
Mm-hmm.
This is where it gets very mathsy.
Lone Wolf?
Yeah, and then we'd want to put it there, wouldn't we? Because then it gets...
Yeah.
Why does that get zeroed?
Defense zeroed.
I think maybe one of these things is doing it, is it?
No. All offensive maneuvers. Defense of all offensive maneuvers.
It's the light
Plus
cruisers.
150%.
Disables attack of all supportive maneuvers. So all of these are going to get 0 attack no matter what we do.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. If we do that, it's just going to boost everything else, which is going to be nice.
Yeah. And we're going to need light cruisers at some point. And...
So attack of maneuvers 1, 2, and 4. 1 and 2 plus 4.
Jinking?
Yeah, jinking might be useful. Basically, we're doing this. We need a big move in number 5. We need a heavy attack in number 5.
Yeah.
Which would do that. Analysis of the current strategy suggests 2 to 4 of your dispatch squadrons will return from the attack heavily damaged, if they return at all. Boosting your defences might be beneficial. I'm not sure there is much else we can boost, is there?
No. Not with the light cruisers.
No. Well, that disables the attack. But that's boosting all of them, so...
Yeah.
I think that's probably about as good as we're going to get.
Yeah, agreed.
And let's recover over there. So for that we need... that take? Yeah, so we need 1 fighter, 3 torpedoes, and 2 dive bombers on deck. So we've currently got 1 fighter.
Yeah.
Bringing up more fighters? What are we bringing up?
Is that the cap?
Issue a fighter squadron on the deck.
Oh, we've got 1 more fighter coming up. Let's get this attack off, shall we?
Yes, get the attack off and then we're done with the other rest.
So we want 2 dive bombers. Hang on.
I think 2 dive bombers and 3 torpedo bombers.
That's 6. I bet you we can't put 6. Oh, we can put 6 on deck and that'll be maximum.
Yeah.
Which means we need to work out how the hell we get rid of one of those fighters.
Launch them as a cap?
We could scout them.
Yeah.
if we... Let's set up a scouting mission. I don't think we need to do it. I think we just launch. So I think scouting just does the general range, maybe?
Yeah.
Although we can do another cap. Maybe we get a cap up. Submarine is attacking the carrier. That does not sound fun.
No.
Counter submarines requires 2 torpedoes. Well, handily, we have 1 on deck.
Mm-hmm. That does help. And we could have an airstrike. This is where we needed the Fletchers.
This is where we needed the Fletchers. We are very Japanese Admiral at the moment in terms of changing our orders in the middle of actually doing things and getting caught with shit on the deck. So we're launching our scouting mission.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're getting torpedo bombers up to deal with the sub. Hopefully in time.
And hopefully it all works out.
And then try and get a strike off before this lot get back and need recovery.
The joy of this is I'm just quickly writing a note on carriers because of the questions coming from Twitch, and just going, when we get through this at this point, must remember to go back to that point.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you hear me typing in the background, that's dyslexic me making sure I have a note, because otherwise I forget.
My main problem at the moment is I could really do with a wine top up. I don't want to do it while there's submarines in the area, which is, you know, it's more of a French admiral problem than anything else.
You know, it could be worse. It could be worse.
Right, that's our fighters off. This has reminded me that the order we have stuff on deck is quite important, because stuff has to be moved out of the way otherwise to launch stuff. Right, so that's one of our torpedo bombers coming up.
Issue a torpedo bomber squadron on the deck.
Yeah, we know they're coming. They're coming.
But they're coming.
They're coming.
As fast as Havercack will make can come, they're coming.
They are beavering away.
Well, they must be rubbing the rubber of those wheels to pieces.
Come on, lads. Oh shit, it's dive bombers. Really need to learn those symbols. Really need to learn those symbols.
Well, this is what's the phrase used? This is not an Iron Man game.
Yeah. The other thing is, look, we've got stuff on the deck now. It's good. It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah.
We need them for the strike.
We just really like some Fletchers right now.
Yeah, Fletchers would have been handy. Like, we bought the Fletchers and didn't use them.
We bought the Fletchers especially for this.
Yeah, for this specific scenario, and didn't bring them with us.
Oh, I don't know. I never thought I'd be the one to repeat HMS Glorious.
I mean, losing the first mission would be quite impressive.
It would take skill.
Right, go, get up there. Deal with that sub. Right. I think we're going to recover the Identify.
Mm-hmm.
I think once these go. Which gives us another dive bomber on deck anyway, which I think we need for the attack, don't we? Yes.
Yeah. We need as much capability on deck for the attack as possible.
Yeah, so we're going to have... So that's off. We get deck into recovery as soon as they're off.
Oh.
Can't have those beavers with all the wooden decks. Yeah.
Random question for you. with Australia, how are you planning on covering the channel? Are you going to have recorded videos? Come on.
Don't know. I might do some pre-records on. I could do a pre-recorded Victoria 3 or CK3 run, and do it that way.
I'm not sure what to do about the Twitch channel because I'm currently recording videos like crazy for the YouTube channel. Then I'm going, and also I should do something for the Twitch channel. So what I might do is I'm doing a key ship series on my YouTube channel, and I might put some of the videos might come out early on Twitch because I just thought there might be some cool videos in there.
It's probably a good way of doing it. Right, I think we need to do some maintenance here apparently. So I'm telling someone to go do some maintenance in the sick bay.
Please do. That's because we have no one in sick bay, so no one's there doing maintenance anyway. So sick bay is probably going to collapse at some point, in which case the hangar will fall in on it.
Right, we are now prepping for recovery.
I have to say, most of the navies ended up doing the similar thing, with the hangar being directly below sick bay, the sick bay being directly below the hangar. But I always personally considered it one of the most stupid places to stick the sick bay, because I know it's close by for the casualties coming down, etc. But also, the hangar is where all the explosive stuff is sitting, including fuel, etc. I'd rather try and keep the sick bay a little bit separated from that.
Deck has malfunctioned. Send DC
But almost everyone makes the same decision design-wise.
Yeah, I can kind of see the logic of it, but it does cause issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they don't like us. They're definitely coming for us.
Yeah, so...
Right, recover them.
Stand by to recover aircraft.
So that's going to give us 2 torpedoes.
Mm-hmm.
No, wait, 2 dive bombers.
Yeah.
I think we leave the recon up and try and get this strike off quickly.
Yeah. Because they have got about 20 minutes, so that should be enough time to surge the aircraft. It's all going to depend on how well our lift works.
I think we get about 2 hours on recovery, so we should be all right. Because we can now go launch, and we've got on deck 2 dive bombers, 1 torpedo. We need, so that's all the dive bombers we need. So we need another 2 torpedoes and 1 fighter. Yeah, we'll get that off. I'm sure we'll get that off.
Okay.
Because we've got our sub hunters coming back.
Yeah, I'd really like those sub hunters to be supported by some Fletchers. I know I keep saying this, but there is part of me which is mildly embarrassed by the fact that we got him.
I know, we got the Fletchers
and neither of us remembered it. Neither of us remembered. You know,
right,
you have the legitimate reason. You are remembering how to play the game. I'm the admiral here. I'm supposed to be one not worrying about how to play the game.
Oh, I mean, I absolutely see it as a command failure.
Yeah, it's certainly my fault.
Right, that's our 2 torpedoes, and we need 1 fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've only got an hour to get this off. Oh, we did destroy the enemy submarine, though, so that's nice.
That's nice, yes.
Right, yeah, we've got about an hour and 45 to recover these others. Didn't the Lexington start with flywheel catapults?
They had all sorts of fun innovations. Let's put it this way: there are some people have some really interesting ideas at various points. Don't we also have some submarines? Could we send them out hunting for annoying people, or are they just going to escort us? Because
that's a good question. What do they actually do? Cargo sinking. Sink a random cargo ship from a selected enemy fleet within 500 miles. That seems like the least useful thing for us ever right now.
Oh, what about the Chicopee? What does she do?
Replenish 2 squadrons of a chosen type. So that's quite useful.
That is good, yes.
Can be used once between each visit to Pearl. So that is, if we lose planes, that is useful. Right, go, 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 go. Right, I think we got that off. Yeah, we got the launch off.
Mhm.
I think we might be tight on recovering our
I think we'll be okay.
subs, but we'll see. Are you going to the Australian Tank Museum at all? I would quite like to.
I would like to, but I'm not sure. Let's put it this way. Currently, me and it's Garius you want me to call you here, isn't it?
You can call me what you like.
Can I get away?
I'm John or Garius.
Yeah, I'll call you Garius.
Oh, while we're launching this, I'm going to run and get a wine refill. I'm going to go full French Admiral.
But literally, at the moment, me and Garius have a current plan of we do the trip, and then we do we're going to do the Indo-Pacific Rail Line. And we're going to do... I have no control over this carrier, by the way, while I'm talking. We're going to do the Indo-Pacific line, and we're going to do all sorts of things along that line, sort of taking photos and seeing the history as we go the railways. If that didn't work out, honestly, I have a list of museums which we would like to go and visit, and we would use that money to go and visit those museums. So, including the Tank Museum and all sorts of things we would be going to, because the reason I particularly want to see the Australian Tank Museum is, of course, their collection of Matildas. And the Matilda is my favourite tank of the Second World War. I know it's not the best tank, I am not going to claim it is, but the Matilda, just for some reason, the Matilda has always had a place in my heart. I was basically telling everyone our backup plan, if we don't get the India-Pacific Railway, we're going on a tour of other museums around Australia.
Oh,
using the
definitely.
money.
But it is worth remembering.
Your and my plan is, if in doubt, we send the other two off to do the things they're going to do, and we go have fun.
Exactly. Exclamation mark ship shape for how to back. None of this happens if we don't raise enough money to go. So
there's even a railway. There is a railway in Australia which is entirely powered by solar power. I'm not sure if that's either you or my thing, but it does sound something interesting.
We are going to be very close in recovering these dive bombers, I think. I think we'll get
We are going to be incredibly close. I think we're just about. But this has been one of the slowest aircraft launches I have ever seen.
But I do remember that is one thing I like about this game, is you do get that sort of... the pace it plays at makes it kind of more tense. Like, you do need to kind of plan for it. I think the weather's just changed slightly.
Yeah. Please tell me you have someone in the meteorological office watching out for things.
I suspect we don't. We're going to pull this recovery off. We might just make this. Yes! 16 minutes to spare, we got the recovery in.
Yeah, plenty of time.
Right, we do need to get some recon off.
Yeah, we'll do that after we've recovered everything. Because we can recover the counter-submarine. They should be coming in.
Is the carrier down at the stern? Shouldn't be. We haven't been hit by anything, to my knowledge.
No, it just looks weird.
Yeah, I think that's just the weather. I don't think we're flooded in any way.
Your strike group is not moving.
I suspect that's the weather.
Let's make us go south of the island.
We could put some extra people in navigation. That would allow us to go full.
Mm-hmm.
Once they get over there, they have to run over there.
Yeah, I don't think we need to increase the speed at the moment. We do need to... Well, let's go south of the island so that the group keeps moving. Us just hiding in the rain school sounds lovely, but I'd like us to go sort of south of the island.
Let's go around there.
Or actually, no. Yeah, so just try and keep as close to the island as possible, because we are supposed to be picking someone up, aren't we?
That's a good point. We are meant to be doing something.
Do we have to click on the island? Do we actually have to take the task group to the island?
I don't know. Right, I think control click is delete waypoints, isn't it?
Yeah.
Apparently
Well,
not.
it is on another game I play.
Normally is, apparently not. Select fleet.
Hello, Murder Man 826. How you doing?
How do I undelete? How do I remove waypoints?
Press the X. Does that cancel them?
Let's pause, shall we? Right. Let's see how we cancel waypoints. So that's our fleet. You would assume... Aha, gotcha. Right. So, south of the island, like that?
Yeah. But do we click on the island? Do we have to actually click on the island or something?
I don't think so.
No, we can't actually, you know.
I assume we have to sink the enemy carrier first, maybe.
Yeah.
And then that clears us for the mission. We are moving again, which is good.
Yeah, it's good to be moving. There is enemy scouting aircraft coming around us, so we have a cap.
We can lob up the free cap from the Saipan.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
That'll cover that. Scouting's back in 6 minutes, so we should probably recover that, shouldn't we, before we do anything else. We can recover the recon. Well, that was painful.
Damage was not critical.
We did take one off. We took a chunk off the carrier, but we didn't kill it.
If I remember correctly, it was Dauntless and Vindicators we said, wasn't it? That was not a nice thing to do, to send Dauntless and Vindicators.
So, we did take a chunk off the carrier, but it's not dead.
Yeah. I think we're going to have to send another strike, aren't we?
Yeah, let's get these recovered. I think maybe we should have been more aggressive with our strikes. In the sense that we should have got more off the moment we found it. Let's recover that. And let's get another strike off.
Is it me or is the cat from the Saipan not doing their job?
So, I would kind of hope they would.
But that thing is doing an orbit.
So interesting, it increases our defense. It doesn't look like it does counter scout.
Yeah.
But we're recovering 2 fighters anyway.
So once we've recovered them, launch them on counter scout.
Yeah, and then let's get another strike off, I reckon. You're definitely going to get a bit wet if you're at that end.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the airstrike gets back in an hour, so by the time we've flung off the counter scouts. We might just be able to throw the attack out.
Yeah. I think we launch another strike. And then I think we keep about 2 fighters on deck.
Yeah, it does look like having a couple of scouts on deck is just useful. Or a couple of fighters on deck ready to go. I'm starting to think that having more deck slots is potentially a really valuable thing. Because it means you can then just keep a couple of fighters up there. Because the attacks, the airstrikes, take 6. Which means you've got to have the full deck complement, as it is.
Whereas if you had a few more deck slots...
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's hope we can get some of those in the next upgrades.
I think we did kind of screw ourselves with our escort selection.
Yeah, I do think having a Fletcher would have been useful here. We can't keep saying that, otherwise this stream will become known as the Where Are Our Fletcher stream.
Yeah, live and learn indeed, King's Rook indeed. Right, this is everyone recovered. Yeah, airstrike's back in 51 minutes. So what we could do, or what's left of the airstrike's back in 51 minutes.
There is a fire below deck.
Fire below deck doesn't sound
Awaiting
good.
orders.
That doesn't sound good.
There's our fire below deck.
Do we have anyone in damage control section anymore?
Don't think we
No.
specifically do.
No.
Right, he is going to deal with that. He's just going a long way round.
Why is he going all that way around to deal with it?
Just wants a bit of fresh air. We're not actually moving at full speed. I'll stick an extra person in damage control.
Yep. And there's a reason I have us not going at full speed. My theory is we crank ourselves up to high speed. Too far. Strike group is too far from this area missions recovery area.
Kind of feel like we've killed a lot of people here.
Yeah, I think we moved too far south.
We moved too far south.
We're not that far out of it. You know, nicest way. The strike recovery area was supposed to be
The strike recovery
just
was
above where
around
we
here,
are.
wasn't it?
Yes, it was. We put it around the island. How many people have we killed?
It's interesting watching you both work out your character tactics and decide the modern ready 1-2 positions are what is needed. Well, quite.
Yeah.
I think we did manage to get that recovery in. I'm not sure what... Right, he's going to deal with the fire, so that is good. Yeah, can you deal with the fire and the main generators, please?
Yeah, we really like the main
Let's get back
generators
to
be
launch
working.
position.
Yeah.
Because then we can launch the counter scouts.
Clear the flight deck and prepare for takeoff.
How many aircraft do we have in the air?
We've got our airstrike coming back and our cap.
Yeah, our airstrike coming back. Do we have to move to recover them?
I don't know. Let's go north of the island just in case.
Let's go. I'd say let's head towards the carrier just in case.
We YOLOing it straight towards the carrier, are we?
Yeah, but basically we got submarines with us. They can take out the cargo ship. They can't. There's no cargo ship in that group, but they can take out something. We got no Fletchers.
Right, scout counter is going up.
Yeah.
Then we recover the airstrike, top it up with what we
And then
need to
we
top it up with, and we get it out
And then
again.
we yeah. This is a nice and fast-paced game.
Yeah, I really like it as a kind of like it gets complex quite quickly,
Yes.
but it does it at such a slow pace that the tension just builds with it. And I do remember from playing it first time round, once you start to build up a kind of feel for your timings. Right, so let's flip recovery after they're off.
Mm-hmm. Go for it. No separate launch and recovery slots. Not at the moment on this carrier. In reality, historically, they had a crash barrier in the middle, and yes, they did have separate flight launch and recovery. And that was the reason you had the carrier. You had the barrier in the middle. And the only time you had really the barrier come down was when you were launching things like an Alpha Strike and you were setting up everything. But even then, what you'd often do is you'd often launch the aircraft and then up the barrier while the aircraft were launching. So if they blew up on launch, which wasn't unknown, the actual aircraft behind them would be protected from the debris. I think they do it here for a game aircraft. Because honestly, if they did have that going on with that sort of system, they'd be making it almost too easy for you.
Yeah, I think that's it. This forces you to kind of do an element of management on this.
But really, there should be lots of people in brightly coloured shirts running around on that deck.
Yeah, everyone's in nice little bright blue uniforms, but no one's running around in nice shirts. They're all very calm.
No, it's one of the interesting things. There was this recent... Oh, what was this article? There was this guy... I'm not sure who he was, but he tweeted out a picture of a US Navy carrier crew and saying, this isn't, you know, they're all in pride colours or something like that. And I was sitting there going, how to show the world you don't know anything about carrier aviation. All the people are in bright colours because those bright colours tell you exactly what they do on a flight deck without you having to ask them. And that's all worked out. And by the way, you then went, yes, while we're going around in bright colours, you know, the Chinese are preparing for war. They've copied the exact same system we have. And it's the exact same system for Delta Model 2.
Your standard Russian soldiers are harder because they, you know, they're all men. It's like, whatever, shut up.
No, it was the one I think is when people show me pictures of soldiers and they're training by lifting logs and all those things. And that's the cheapest form of training you can do. It's also the least effective. It doesn't really condition them for fighting. It looks, huh. And everyone looks at it and goes, that's a huh soldier. And you're going, yeah. And that guy will get taken to pieces in 5 minutes by a thinking soldier. In fact, the only reason it'll take 5 minutes is because the thinking soldier will spend 4 minutes and 45 seconds laughing their butt off before they actually do the job.
Right, I'm going to recover these extra fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Because we might as well. That's going to give us 2 torpedoes, 1 dive bomber, and 1 fighter and 2 fighters on deck.
Mm-hmm.
Which we should be able to build an attack out of that, I think, with an extra few bits thrown in.
I hope so.
Try and kill this carrier.
Honestly, I'd like to launch a lot. I'd like to launch a heavy strike of literally fighters and fighters and torpedo bombers, but you know they're not letting us do that. If you think about the reality of the strike mission, you would send in a huge number of aircraft. You would send every aircraft you could physically get up there.
Yeah, I mean, I think from memory, you unlock more cards that give you a lot more options.
A member of your staff requires urgent medical aid.
Oh, we've got a
DC team transporters to the infirmary.
Someone.
Sir, a member of your staff requires
someone's injured.
Medical aid. Have a DC team transport him to the infirmary.
Workplace
crewman is injured.
Workplace incident.
We have no one in the medical bay.
Yeah, we should probably put someone in the medic bay.
Let's transfer the person we have on extra damage control.
Yeah, get over to the medical department because he's injured. How do we move someone injured?
Sure, the medical department go collect them.
You'd hope. Oh no, he's our guy. So he's currently in the hangar. So I've told him go pick that dude up, and he will take him to the sick bay, and he'll get better quicker because we've.
So basically, he's the chief, petty officer. He's the chief of the ship. So he's the only person we have to worry about doing things.
On your command.
Now we just had a plane crash on the deck, which is not useful.
Were they running out of fuel? Or were they just damaged?
It was just damaged.
Oh,
he's on medical duty.
Damage control party to the deck. This is actually a carrier which has a wooden deck. Please go and pick it up before the wood starts to burn.
Yep. Can you get that guy moved to the medical bay, please? We need you on deck. Can we get another person in damage control?
I think we can, but where are we going to take them from?
I mean, we're not actually launching anything at the moment. I think it speeds up how quickly they do deal with stuff.
Mm-hmm. We need to recruit more crew.
Right, he's off. Deal with that, please, Chief. Kinda need to be doing some stuff.
You know the chief we need.
Push it over
We
the
need
side.
to get the guy from Sackville.
Yeah,
we need
he's
that.
very
We need
good.
to get that chief the nicest way. But that would never have lasted that long with him aboard.
Right, let's get back to launching.
We've got the
Let's
wrong
get an airstrike.
Canadian chief on our carrier.
Right,
We need to go.
we want to go for that. We can launch the same one again, or we can try and vary it up.
Can we change Lone Wolf to something else? Is there anything else which can sort of we can put into the Lone Wolf? Is there anything which might vary it up for us?
So that's going to disable the attack of all supported maneuvers.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to get any attack off of any of this. So Lone Wolf is actually not useful to us thinking about it, because it only does that, doesn't it?
Yeah. Strike from the sun? No, hang on. Feint.
So we could do feint there.
Yeah.
Because defense of the next two maneuvers plus 75%. Well, hang on. That
Yeah.
strike from the sun is going to boost our attack. And provide the same defense.
Yeah. Provides +4. On maneuvers maneuvers 1 and 2.
That's the
Okay.
attack of all following maneuvers.
Yeah.
Plus 25. So if we did that,
Yeah.
we're just very short on defense on this.
Well, do we go entirely all attack? And then only put in one defense? Just go completely everything onto the attack?
How about that? We get one heavily damaged.
Mm-hmm.
1 to 3 heavily damaged. We'll definitely just damage one target, enemy target, but will not destroy it. I
And
don't
it
think
will
we can
require
do it. But the problem is
3
that
TIE
freaking
bombers
light
and
cruiser.
3 torpedo bombers. It's the we've got all offensive movers. Let's go look at the defensive. Let's see what the options are on the defensive, because we might need some fighters.
If we drop those out, we're going to get boosts. What if we do that?
1 of 2 enemy targets will be destroyed. Now.
This strategy requires more squadrons than you currently deploy on your deck, so we can't do that even if we want to.
Yeah. What about adding that one? Let's go back to the green one we had in there, because...
That one.
Yeah. I think we had feint in there, wasn't it? 1 to 2 enemy targets will be destroyed. We'll
Yeah,
go with
because
this
this gives fixed targets such a massive boost.
one. Yep.
So 1, 2, 3 basically.
Mm-hmm. 1 fighter,
what have we actually got on deck? They're all moving back to launch. We'll find out. People talk about the Russian uniform, let them know that their elite troops wore the same design of shirt that General Claude Gautier used for their perfume bottles. Well, quite.
Yeah.
Well, one of my favourite random World War I facts is that you know, laughing cow cheese.
Yes.
The design of that is essentially what was on the side of the guy's van when he used to run supplies to Verdun in World War I.
We need an extra torpedo bombers and extra dive bombers.
Yeah. We've got too many fighters.
No, we've got enough fighters.
So extra torpedo and extra dive bombers, did you say?
Yeah.
One dive bomber. Hang on, that can't be right. Oh, we need more aircrew. We've got to get people moved around.
Yeah.
Over there.
Issue a dive bomber squadron on the deck.
So that's our dive bomber, so we need one more torpedo, don't we?
Yes. We need one more torpedo. If this becomes a regular thing where we end up playing this carrier game, you and I are going to spend a lot of time discussing carrier tech.
Oh yeah, I'm all in favour of that.
Mm-hmm.
We should definitely pick this up and carry it on.
Yeah. And we should try and get Jamie, armoured carriers, to take part in the one when we're on Australia.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because he'll be going, no, 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 this is... Because he is an amazing historian when it comes to the carriers. I mean, he really knows them backwards and forwards. And I honestly, there are times I would like to stick him in some of the places we end up going at conferences, and I would love to have had Jamie there at the conference, because I'm making the case and arguing away, and I'm going, I'm being nice and academic on this and arguing away as we should, but really I should have Jamie here, who will literally take you apart as only a journalist of his caliber can, on a subject which he knows inside, outside, and backwards, forwards, way better than anyone else. Because, you know, when you see those journalists who do know their topics, backwards, forwards, sideways, and they go full incisive inquisitor person, you know, that's the times you remember when you see those, when you see the politicians or the people they're interviewing literally fall apart. And I could imagine Jamie doing that to several professors when they're talking about various things to do with carrier warfare and literally taking them to pieces. Because they like to pontificate about carrier warfare, and it's a case of, yeah, you don't. You don't think it through. It's like the people I have the discussions with, and I'm sure you see similar things. It's like people who talk to me and go, well, no, the guns can't point that. No, they can't fire at that angle because they say in the manuals not to do that. And you go, and you have to respond, well, they say in the manuals not to do that in peacetime, because if they do it in peacetime, there's a high risk it's going to damage parts of the ship. So they'd rather you not do that. But there's a difference the moment there's a war on. Suddenly your criteria of, do we risk damaging our own ship just to do a firing drill, or do we actually do it, it changes. Because it's not a firing drill, it's engaging the enemy. And also, as a rule, in wartime, a lot of stuff which you have around on a ship in peacetime, which are part of, help it fulfill its presence and other missions, disappear.
Right, I've just called in a resupply mission on us as we're not being attacked at the moment, because I figured this is the time to resupply.
Mm-hmm.
And our attack is
question,
going
what's
on.
the funding goal reduced? Kings, what's happened is we put in originally the funding for the full, the limit as the full dream funding, and people going, we're not really sure about this one, etc. And we said, right then, so we'll put in what is the bare minimum, the minimum figure. And we worked out, we worked out three. As I said before, we did 3 figures for the trip. We had the trip with everything secured and everything everything funded. And this was worked out back in January prices. This is the other thing we found. It's like one of the things that I found strange is the prices, when I looked in January and March for flights, have dropped by roughly $2,000 to the current ones. And it was really quite interesting because one of our number went through and has booked their tickets already and has booked their stuff and is basically booking it on the idea they're going to get paid back by well, they hopefully not paid back, but they're going to hopefully get the money back from the fundraising. And they've gone through and booked it all, and it's the prices they're getting. And the price, so we went through the prices together while they were booking it, and it's a case of the prices have gone down. And I've got print screens and everything from January when I was doing it all and putting it together, and the pricing it out, and the prices have dropped by that much. So we have been able to pass it on and go, look, this is what our requirement is for us to be able to do this trip. And I think that's gone up, and I think that's... Is it... What have we put up there now?
I think it's 28, I think I put it down.
I think it is 28.
Something like that.
Yeah, 28. We're at about 10% of it.
I do love that we're actually seeing the freaking resupply here.
That is good.
That is quite cool.
It's always nice to see a replenishment at sea going on.
Sir, the new objective is awaiting.
Well, rip our dive bombers, fighter aircraft and torpedoes, but...
we destroyed the entire enemy force.
We got the entire enemy force.
That is very good news. I'm not quite sure about losing all those aircraft, but that'll do.
We'll get them back at Pearl.
Yeah. And let's be honest, the things you can sacrifice in the nicest way, if we were going into there without having destroyed them, we'd probably get destroyed by the cruisers and the destroyers.
War is hell.
We don't have our Fletchers to protect us. Oh, good lord, that was painful.
All right, okay. I think we now have a VIP rescue mission.
Oh, good. I'm going to be back in a second. I'm just off to... Well, I'll be back in a second.
Cool. I will prep once we're ready our VIP rescue mission. I do like that we got to see the supply. I think that is a real nice touch. Yeah, so as Alex said, 28 is our kind of... We've adapted that down. Based on... Guys, don't crash on the deck.
Awaiting orders.
Please. Can you just not?
On your command.
Can you just not crash on the deck, please? Just leaves a mess. Flight prices are weird. They usually try and catch people who book too far in advance in the last minute. But yeah, it's a really odd balance. Right, so if we want to do this, let's get back to launching once they push that one over the side. I think it's fair to say that our first mission has been somewhat brutal on our pilots. Yeah, I think it was one of our damage control.
The first mission on our pilots was frankly evil. But the example I would give is one of our number is obsessed with doing the direct flight to Australia in one go. When I say obsessed, I mean in the nicest possible way. It's almost been their dream the whole way through. They've been going, that's the flight I want to do. That's the flight I want to do. And originally they weren't going to do it because it was about, I think at the point when we were looking in January, it was $5,000 or $6,000 for even the economy tickets. And that's dropped to like $2,000. And it's now the cheapest of the options. And there's me honestly sitting there thinking, do I want to be in a plane for that long, or do I prefer to go change via Dubai or change via Singapore? Do I want to be in a plane for that long?
Quick question from CD Cameron. Quick question: do the rewards and site stack? If I put in 40 before payday and 60 after, does it add together for the tier? I think it does. If it doesn't, I will personally guarantee you here live on stream that we will treat it that way.
Yes, we will treat it that way. And on Jonathan, did you ignore a fluffy assistant? Yes or no? No, I did not ignore a fluffy assistant. I got a note from my sister saying that the temperature check she has in the greenhouse wasn't showing that the door was closed. Would I please go check the door was closed on the greenhouse? Before we started the stream this evening, I had to go check the door, close the door. So I went and took a photo of the greenhouse door to prove that it was closed. It was either that or she would come out again, and we all know when my sister comes out, I love her dearly in this evening, she's going to start moving benches around, and that's just going to be distracting.
Oh god, we need torpedo bombers. Some torpedo bombers.
Torpedo bomber squadron on the deck.
And we can get our VIP rescue mission off.
Yes. Why exactly does he require so many aircraft to go pick him up? Just one torpedo bomber to go pick him up, preferably with no one sitting in the middle seat, which should be enough.
This is VIPs for you, to be honest. Is that an enemy fleet to our east? There are a lot of things potentially around us, and we have absolutely failed to recon any of them because we have.
I think we have to start reconning some of them.
I think we're learning lessons. I think that's fair to say.
Yes, we are.
I think we definitely should pick this up again, and I think we will be considerably better at this next time. I had forgotten how much I really enjoy this game. Yeah.
Next time we will not forget the Fletchers.
I had genuinely forgotten how fun this game is. Oh fuck, it can't be launched at night. That's a problem.
Do we not have night strike capability? And night flight capability? Of course not, we're American. At this point in the war they didn't have it.
And if dawn isn't before... Because we've only got 4 hours left to complete it.
How long till dawn? What's the time?
We might actually have just failed to,
yeah.
Just report the spammer.
Oh great, we're detected by the enemy. Can we launch some fighters?
We should probably get something up. I legit think we might embarrassingly have just failed this.
Yes, but that's possibly because we completely forgot about
by seconds, because we forgot that we couldn't launch at night, or we didn't know that we couldn't launch at night.
Yes, that's what we'll claim. We'll claim we didn't realise how accurate they got the they got the cinemetrics to be.
Essentially, this is going to come down to... Yeah, I don't think we can do this now. That's outrageous. We're terrible.
Yeah.
Is it frankly embarrassing?
I'm not getting... I know this is a random thing to say, but there's not only... well, because I'm of the things I'm logged into to keep this going and watch everything that's going and sort of... and the Twitch, the sharing thing on the stream. It just flashed up on me a note on the notifications that do. Your latest YouTube video is getting above average views. And that was one I was expecting to be slightly heckled over, because basically I was presenting my case of why I do not like the designation pre-Dreadnought and think it's terrible and should be forgotten and stricken from the world forever.
Well, yeah, because they weren't that at the time, so...
No, they weren't. They were not. If ever I get punched at a naval conference, though, we'll be over that topic.
Yeah, I think we are about to lose this mission because there's no way we're getting that carrier, that VIP mission.
Unless we're... yeah, there's no way.
Lessons learned, though. We need to take down the enemy carrier quicker so that we can recover the VIP in daylight. And we need to take the Fletchers. Taking the Fletchers would have helped a lot.
Yep. Plus, we possibly need to take more dive bombers with us. Yeah,
I think that's the thing we learned as well, isn't it? Is dive bombers. Also, we basically just learned that you absolutely shouldn't be a Canadian aircraft carrier. I blame the Canadians for this.
I think it's because they didn't give us the chief from Sackville. He wouldn't leave his Corvette. Lemon Ducky, hello. What did I just enter into?
Chaos,
well,
and failure. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much, King's Rook. Pretty much.
Where are we even steaming now?
I have no idea. Our system's just doing steaming away.
Let's just do a little loop around there.
Oh, there's an enemy fleet in there down the south that we can actually see.
I mean, technically, it hasn't told us we've failed yet.
No. So maybe we're allowed another day?
Maybe we're going to get like a really bad review for this. Like maybe our TripAdvisor review for this mission is going to be very bad.
Okay. First things first, let's reconnaissance that fleet down to our south, though. While we're still alive, let's fight. And let's make sure we stay alive. So
we
we've got
do
some
have
recon
stuff on
ready to
deck.
launch.
We could do that.
Yeah.
Oh, can't be launched at night.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Stupid nighttime. Right, let's fast forward this today and see
US
if we can,
Navy, why?
Yeah, learn to fly at night, US Navy.
Oh.
This is absolutely the Canadians' fault.
Send in the subs. Unfortunately, the subs only attack cargo ships. Tactical map information updated. Have they confirmed what that force is that we were heading towards?
We'll have to send a recon.
Please let it not be a battleship group.
We're just going to run into it. It's a neutral ship, allegedly. Launch! Right, let's get this mission off and see if it actually achieves. I think we might just get a big failure warning at the end.
Jonathan Moon, a Type G star going supernova. It's not to be rude, but it's with some tensions. But you are the chaos element of the build from cast to me. You have no idea how wrong that is, because I can see why you probably think it is, but I'm also the one who organises the times for us to get together, who does sort of sends together research packs, and basically keeps and tries to book all the guests. So, yeah, I can understand why possibly you do think I'm the chaos element, but I'm also the one who literally, to quote my good colleague Dragonafel, I am the tank of any group in D&D group and raiding party, because I am the one who ends up for some reason, despite the fact, probably actually because of the fact I'm always compensating for my dyslexia. And the thing that I can forget things, I am always the one reminding people of, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this. Yeah. Garius can back me up or deny it here, but, you know, I do think I am sort of the person who ends up doing that quite a lot, doing it because I just take it on myself.
Oh yeah, definitely.
To remind myself.
Yeah, I think we have woefully failed at this.
Yes.
I think we need to get someone into the island so that we can go full speed.
Yeah.
Because not only have we rescued the people, we have absolutely failed to get in the range of where they can actually recover to us. How do we get more speed?
Is that what about?
Oh, I've sent another guy to navigation. I suspect when he arrives, we'll be able to do it.
Yeah.
Right, let's recover them, and let's see if we can get in range to recover these before we fail the mission. Yeah, there we go, we're on full now. So why didn't the US Navy have night launch capability?
Principally because they didn't think they'd need it. Their night flying capability they had was limited in many regards because to adapt to carrier for night operations, you need to do a lot of things. Okay? It's not just a case of let's fly at night, it's how do we operate the carrier at night? How do we build a beacon system? How do we build a series of floats which we can drop out behind us so the planes can can fly in? How do we organize everything we need to do? It's not just a straightforward, oh, let's do night flying. And it takes time to build up. And the trouble is, you have only really one fleet air arm which does that in the interwar years. And that's the Royal Navy, because as we've been over before, they have several, how do I put this, legacies of World War I. One of them is Abercur, Crecy, and Hogue, which is why all their cruisers and pretty much every ship they have has some form of hydrophone or ASDIC on it in order to try and hear for torpedoes, and preferably also hear for submarines trying to hunt them. The other is Jutland and the night battle. And absolutely everything had to be able to had to be able to fight, operate at night. Everything had to be able to.
So, I think we failed the mission, but we still get to award some stuff out.
Yeah.
So, I was thinking, let's make one of our crewmen a generalist. Because I feel like promoting crewmen is probably more useful than...
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, we might get away with it.
We destroyed the minimum number of enemies.
Well, we unlocked some points.
That's good, because we need to do some work on things. Our escort force. Fletchers, please. And I
mean, the free cap is nice.
Yeah, that is useful. As a defensive aid, that's a useful thing to have. I'd say for the moment that'll do. I'd prefer to have Fletchers over submarines. And for this one, shall we increase our hangar capacity? And our carrier?
Yeah, can we increase our
deck spots, the deck parking as well, please?
I don't think we can. I think we can only increase hangar. I think for deck spots we might need the bigger carriers.
Yeah. Okay, well I think we still need to increase our hangar capacity of aircraft. Because then we've got more to call upon.
We need to replenish, because we lost a bunch.
Yeah.
I think we were fine with the amount of fighters we had, weren't we? It was dive bombers we were...
Yes, it was dive bombers we were short of, so... I think if we go and add if we use some of our upgrade points to increase our number of... Ooh, we are really low.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically done us on that. But we do have upgrade points.
Yeah.
So we could take another officer. We could just improve our aircraft.
Yeah.
I mean, that might just be worthwhile.
Let's improve the fighters and dive bombers and see what happens.
We're now on Wildcats.
Oh, hallelujah.
And you say bombers?
Defense. Dive bombers.
Got some Dauntlesses.
Oh, we got... Yeah. That'll do.
And we've got 2 points
And
left.
Shall we try and improve
There
the
you go.
Devastators?
We've got some Avengers now as well.
Oh, hallelujah. That'll do.
Right, what is the time? Right, it
I think
is
it's
9
9:05.
o'clock. It is 5 past 9. Do we want to try another mission, or do we want to call it there?
Well, seeing as it took us most of 2 hours to do one mission, do you fancy staying online till 11 o'clock?
Not ideally, no.
I know.
Well, what we could do is call it there, but what are you up to on Monday?
Monday next week is the night I get back from London.
Oh yeah, you're
But
on
I'm free
teaching
Tuesday.
duty, are you?
I'm free on Tuesday evening.
Yeah, should we try and squeeze in another Tuesday stream? Does that work for
Yeah.
chat? Would chat like to see more of this? We will absolutely do more of this. Should we do another? We will try and be less incompetent next time round.
Oh.
We have learned our lessons, like the US.
Yes, we have.
We have learned our lessons in the fires of war.
I'll just add, because Jonathan Moon seems worried. Don't worry, no offense taken. It's just it's the way the life goes, and it's quite funny because people are going. Jamie tries to get things back on track, but Jamie is also the one in Bill Trumps who likes to chuck in points to throw me and Drac off. It's all the way you edit it. Well, no, it's good.
Right, so
it's
we
been
have
a lot of fun.
We have upgraded everything. We are ready for next
Yes.
Tuesday. We will not lose all of our aircraft this time.
No,
We will
hopefully.
definitely do this better. One last
we-
shout out for Shipshape in chat. If you've not
Yes.
supported us already, please do. It is vital if we're going to get to Australia.
It is really, and it is really, really vital because, as I keep trying to tell people, it's not just testing out Shipshape. It's not just about Australia. If Shipshape and Australia works, there are so many other projects this unlocks, and that's the big thing. It's the number of projects for all of us it unlocks. I think
That's the thing.
Have,
There's so much
and,
we
you
want
know-
to do in terms of conferences, in terms of more trips like this, and not all of them are as big as Australia. Like some of them are like we were talking earlier about Scandinavia, weren't we? Because I was over in Sweden recently. There's so much in Sweden. You can go via Kiel for that. You can go via Hamburg. Hamburg's got like the biggest like cargo ship you can go on and go round, and you can even stay on it. It's like stuff like that is just so good to do.
And there's aren't there, by any chance, this is just for you and me, are there any model railway museums that you and I could drag the other two to without them realizing what they're walking into?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Good.
We do one of the late
'Cause
night trips to Miniature World in Hamburg.
I do remember that you have visited the cafe which has the trains running around it, haven't you?
I have indeed. That's Copenhagen. We should go via Copenhagen.
Oh yes, we should. Just so you and I just thought, because they'll enjoy that cafe, and you and I can enjoy the trains.
Yeah, we do Copenhagen, then we go via the Viking ships down at Roskilde. Trip out to that. That gives us 6, I think it's 4 ships. They're really nice little the stuff. If we do time when the replicas are doing, it'd be even better. But yeah, so genuinely, like the other thing to just note before we go is we do hit a point relatively soon where it's a case of going, can all of us go, or can some of us go, or whatever else.
Yeah.
And so we don't necessarily need to get to the final total right now, but we do need to get to a certain point relatively quickly so that we know we can have confidence in booking stuff, so that we know we can get over the line. So we do appreciate it's all coming up. We also kind of appreciate, because I know it is for me, Friday is payday for me. So it is kind of, we do genuinely appreciate any of your support. What have you got? I'm back on Sunday with CK3, and we'll be doing this on Tuesday, and Monday I'll be doing Victoria 3. What's your calendar for this week streaming wise, Alex?
This week I have a live on YouTube on Thursday night, which is all to do with the War of the South Pacific. and the naval war down there, and the Chilean fleet involved in that, and it's a really cool one. And then I've got, it's basically recorded videos through the weekend because I'm up in London and I'm in a travel lodge, so I have no decent internet at all. And then next week it's back to normal. So Tuesday will be this. That sounds like a fun addition to normal. And then Friday it'll be UAD, and
Nice.
there'll be a stream on Thursday as well, which is the Battle of Hakadoke, which is a Japanese battle from a long time ago, but a very cool battle.
I don't know that one. I look forward to that.
And then on Sunday, of course, it's continuing a week on Sunday. It's continuing Rome Total War, the how do I put this politely? The remastered edition, where I am Carthage, and I have actually managed to listen to the stream. I have taken Rome as they requested. I now have to figure out how to get out from taking Rome, because basically being surrounded by the Romans, because I've taken Rome, means I'm spending half my time being defensive fighting against them and not doing enough offense to actually win the game. So I need to try and figure that one out. And then I have another Brew Ships, which I think coming up, well, it was Brew Ships 110 was Naval Aviation. I think the Brew Ships coming up is going to be random books of history and include things like this book, which is the British Historical Statistics book,
nice.
which I think I've recommended to you before. It's B.R. Mitchell's book, and it's all the statistics. And every time you've got someone who wants to tell you, oh, Britain was bankrupt at this point and couldn't afford this or this or this, you get this book out and you just go, actually, there are points we're bankrupt, but this point, which is often where bankruptcy or threat of bankruptcy is used as an excuse for stuff, we aren't by a long way. It's just that the politicians don't want to spend money on that at that point.
I think
it's rather a fun book for disproving myths, but also showing for some reason we don't realize when we are bankrupt, they don't really notice. I know, it's a good one.
So this is my current one that I've been dipping into a bit just because I like old books. And again, I know it's a tiny picture, but I will hold it up anyway. So this is the Soviet Navy. I found this a while back.
Ooh.
This was, when was this
published?
This was published in, so it's it was one that was edited by M.G. Saunders. It was published in 1958. So it's that classic thing which I love about books, which is they're period pieces in their own right. So the way the book is written tells you as much about naval history as the contents of the book. And I always think that's a thing that we need to do more of. We need to kind of accept that so many people think the content of the book is the only thing. Whereas as you and I know, actually you can learn so much from how a book was written about what people were thinking at the time it was written, not the time they were writing about.
That means it's written when this person, Gorshkov, is in the ascendant, isn't it?
Yes.
Because the gentleman who wrote The Sea Power of the State.
Yeah.
In a nice Soviet-sounding title for naval warfare. And it's what always is fun about this book is I always tell people what it's as important in here what isn't written as what is written, in telling you what he's actually looking at.
But right, we should call it there. We should stop waving bookshelves at each other. This has been fun. Chat, we hope you've enjoyed it. And yeah, thanks for those of you who said you would. We will do more of this. I've genuinely enjoyed it. It's been great. Now we've got the setup working. So yeah, we will try to be less crap aircraft carrier commanders next time round.
Yeah, we'll slowly improve. We're doing the full American, experience of naval aviation in World War II.
Exactly.
They come in with a lot of elan and a lot of good ideas, and then they go the practical of sorting this out. And there's always the good example is actually Saratoga and Victorious themselves. When Victorious is pretending to be USS Robin, she spends half her time. She takes over the fighter control and fighter direction, and all the strike aircraft get mounted on Saratoga. And that actually works out quite sensibly because the Royal Navy have very good procedures for orientating around fighter and combat air patrol. And they are basically helping get the Americans sort out their own procedures by being on the British carrier. And the Americans have their whole Alpha Strike doctrine and are very good for doing the mass strike launches. And the Royal Navy is trying to keep that skill viable because the experience in the Mediterranean and having to operate the carriers as individual units to cover so much territory is just denuding that skill. And they know that because they spent most of the interwar years doing multi-carrier exercises. If you look at the big exercises in the Mediterranean, the Royal Navy used to have 2 to 3 carriers on each side. Benefit of having 7 carriers in the fleet.
Well, that's the thing, is I think we're just being historically accurate. That's it. It's not that we were bad at this game, it was that we're role-playing the US very, very carefully, even though we are a Canadian carrier. But on that note, chat, everyone else, thank you for tuning in. Tune in to Alex on YouTube later in the week, and I will see those of you who watch me on Sunday. Don't forget to throw us follows, join our Discords, !Discord for all of that kind of thing, and we will both see you soon. Thank you for watching.
Thank you. Take care.